Obviously, if you hit the gym consistently, you should be seeing the results that you want. But if you start to notice that you've been there for years and there's really not any noticeable change in your physique, your strength, or your fat loss, then you're probably doing something wrong. Here's why you're not seeing results even though you've been going at it for years. What's up everyone, David here. We got a new video for y'all today, but before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel are Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. Now we're talking about the long game here. We're talking about long-term progress. I want you to think back to when you were a beginner, when you first hit the gym. Think about your physique, your strength level. What physical shape were you in during that time? Now, a couple years later, let's just say up to 3 years later, compare yourself now to where you were 3 years ago. Are you where you think you should be? Do you have the muscle mass to show that you've been hitting the gym for years? Do you have the strength to prove it? Did you lose a significant amount of weight to actually show that whatever you've been doing up until this point is working? For some of you, that may be the case, and good. That goes to show you're seeing the results, you stuck around, you stayed consistent, and it's paying off. But I'm pretty sure there's a couple of you out there where even though you've been working out for years, you realistically have no results to show for it. I mean, let's be completely honest. I'm pretty sure many of you, if you've been going to the gym for any decent amount of time, you look around, you can tell who are those people that are just simply wasting their time. You can tell who are the ones that are not getting any results. They're just in there. They're not really pushing themselves. And that's the exact reason why so many months, so many years later, they still look exactly the same. And that's something I want all of you to avoid. I don't want you to waste your time. You've been going to the gym for up to 3 years at this point. I don't want you to go another 3 years and for you to still remain the same. You should be getting better on a week by week, month by month, year by year basis. Every year, you should be comparing yourself to the old you and you should be seeing some type of noticeable progress. But there's so many different ways that you all are going about your training that is just simply wrong. There's so many different training factors that you're not taking into account, and that's the exact reason why you're not seeing the results that you want. So for this video, we're going to be going over 4 big reasons of why you're not seeing results, even though you've been going at it for a couple of years. You're either not training hard enough, you're not tracking your progress, you're changing programs too frequently, or simply your form is just bad. First things first, you're simply not training hard enough. You want to see results any facet of fitness, in terms of strength gains, muscle building, fat loss, being healthier, any measurable factor of fitness, you have to push yourself. You got to get uncomfortable. You want to see growth, you got to earn it. So many people, especially beginners, they just never understand that concept. When they're new, never worked out before in their life, the moment they feel the slightest bit of discomfort, the slightest bit of burn, pain, anything that feels a little off in their muscles when they're hitting their sets, okay, they stop. Granted, they're not used to it because, again, it's their first time. They're just getting into fitness. But as the years go on, they should be able to adapt to that and then continue pushing even more so, fighting through the pain more and more against heavier and heavier weights, against more and more reps. It's just simply pushing yourself even more so. Essentially, that's just the whole process of the overload principle. You have to overload the muscles. You have to constantly be applying new stimulus to actually elicit the muscle growth that you want. But so many people, nope, the moment they feel the slightest bit of discomfort and pain, stop. No. Once you feel that pain, once you feel that burn, that's when you have to keep going. Those are the reps that are actually going to be getting you the results that you want. Those are what's going to allow you to actually go and complete a good amount of volume through working sets. So many people years later after going to the gym, the reason why you're not seeing results is because you're not doing enough working sets. You're doing too many warm-up sets. I'm talking about working sets. That means you pushed yourself hard enough to the point where even when you were done with that last rep, you could have only done 1, maybe 2 more reps afterwards. But so many people, once they're done with their set, you could easily tell they could have done at least 5 more. You get absolutely nothing out of those reps. You get absolutely nothing out of those sets. You have to push yourself. It has to be uncomfortable, and you have to constantly be finding new ways to challenge yourself. Think about when you first started. Okay, that 3 sets of 8 workout program, okay, that may have gotten you a couple of results the first 2 months you started, but on year 2, year 3, if you just keep the weight the same, you keep doing your 3 sets of 8 on the most generic exercises, You really think that's going to give you the same results? No, you have to constantly be progressing. Find new training styles. Start focusing on different ways. Start finding other things to manipulate the actual exercises. Find more advanced training methods. As you become more advanced in the gym, your training methods should reflect that. Start introducing things like a drop set, okay? Before, where you did your leg extensions and you only did 3 sets of 10, okay, that's good. But now that you gotten a little stronger, you're a little more experienced, start challenging yourself. Get uncomfortable. I'm talking about do, okay, 10 reps, but then drop the weight and now do 10 more. Drop the weight even more so, do 10 more. Again, now, whereas in before, you were only doing 10 reps and you were done. No, now you're going to do 10 reps and you're going to find a way to get another 10 and another 10. You see, constantly pushing past your limits. Another thing you could do, start messing around with the tempo of the movements. Before, you were doing your bench press, you know, all casually, no big deal. A couple reps, a couple sets here and there, touch and go, no big deal. Okay, that may have been well and worked when you were a beginner, but now you're more advanced. You don't want to get stagnant. You don't want to plateau. Let's start changing it up a bit. How about now we introduce some pauses? Down, touch the chest, hold it there, and then boom, explode up. Those pauses, if done correctly, you're going to feel such a massive burn in those pecs that you wouldn't feel necessarily as much if you just tap the bar on your chest and then go up and down. So you see, you have to constantly find ways to challenge yourself. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to push yourself if you want to see those results. I keep comparing time. I keep saying what you were doing when you were a beginner versus what you're doing now. But how do we remember where we started? How do we know what we were doing when we were in the beginner? How are we going to compare that to what we're doing now? We do so by tracking our progress, which is a perfect segue into the second point. You want to see improvements? You got to actually keep track of it. You got to have something to compare with. You got to have some type of data to show where you started to where you are now, so you can have some measure of improvement. I'm talking about writing your workout logs. There's so many different ways you can go about it. Old school, pen and paper, get a notebook, write down your workouts on there, put the dates on there so you know exactly what you did. Okay, the following week, look back. Okay, this past Wednesday, I hit back and I was able to do 8 reps with my chin-ups. Okay, now this week, I'm gonna try to beat that number. Okay, I got 8 reps last week. This week, let's try to shoot for 9. You see, you gotta keep track of it. How are you gonna measure progress? How do you know you're actually seeing improvements? And because you're writing everything down, you have something to compare to. You can actually confirm whether what you're doing is working or not. If you're writing down and keeping track of your progress, and for the past 2 months, you've been stuck on 365 for deadlifts for 8 reps, okay? 8 weeks later, and you log your workout and you notice, hey, I did 365 for 8 once again. You mean to tell me in 2 months you made no results? You made no gains? No improvements? Well, you wouldn't have known if you didn't keep track of it. Now you have something to compare. And if you see that what you're doing is not working based on the data that you've been saving up until that point, then that should be a pretty good indication that, hey, I should probably switch something about it. You know what? My deadlifts aren't improving. What can I do? You know what? Let's start improving on deficit deadlifts. Let's try to build a little more power off of the ground and really try to explode on the way up. You see, you have something to look back on and then make the adjustments accordingly. But if you don't keep track of your gains, then how are you going to make any progress? It's like when people keep track of their finances, okay? You want to make a budget and you want to stick to it, okay? You write it down, you keep track of it. Whatever gets measured makes progress, and that's the big thing. However you want to do it, old school, pen and paper, Excel, anywhere, just keep it in writing, have records, so that way you can always look back on it when needed. Okay, let's just say up until this point, you push yourself, you understand, you got to get uncomfortable. That's what's going to get you results. Okay, and now you're keeping track of everything that you're doing in the gym, all your workouts, day in, day out, on a week-by-week basis. Okay, the moment you see that you're not seeing a certain amount of progress that you would like in the time frame that you want, I don't want you to all of a sudden just switch everything up. Although, yes, it's important to track your progress, the third point is going to be to make sure you're not constantly changing programs. You gotta understand, if you want to see results, yes, you have to push yourself. Yes, it would be nice to track your progress, but you gotta stay committed to your program to see the results that you want. It will take time. Although you're keeping track of your workouts and although you're pushing yourself, don't expect to see those results from that program or whatever it is that you're doing after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, maybe sometimes even after 2 months. If you're not seeing results, it might just be too soon. You're 2 months in and you're not quite where you want to be. Yes, maybe you saw just a small amount of progress. Let's just say you saw just a 5-pound increase in your squats. Okay, good. Maybe you saw a 5-rep increase in your squats, but maybe those weren't the goals that you wanted. Maybe you wanted a 10-pound increase overall in strength. Maybe you wanted to aim for an extra 8 reps, not just a 5-rep increase. Don't just switch up the program. The fact that you're still making progress shows that something is working. Too many times when people are just disappointed in the results that they get, they're so quick to jump ship over to another program. And then what's going to happen? The exact same thing. They're not going to be happy with the results they want, so they're going to go ahead and switch up everything all over again, and it's just going to be an ongoing cycle. You have to stay committed to the program if you want to see results. If you've been going to the gym for years, but every couple weeks you're trying out a new workout, a new program, a new split, how are you supposed to see any results? Your body will adapt to what it is that you're doing, but you're not giving it enough time to do so. You look at the best lifters in the world, the best strength athletes, they've been on the same program for so long. They've been doing the same movements for years because it just builds time. Practice the same movements. That's how you get stronger. You look at bodybuilders or those with the best physiques, what do? They've been doing the same exercises, but they've been pushing themselves harder and harder via heavier weights, slower eccentrics, drop sets, different training styles. But you see, they've been staying the course and have been committed for a longer period of time. They're not constantly changing up the program. There might be little tweaks here and there in terms of the number of sets, reps, drop sets, little things that we talked about earlier, but to completely do away with an entire program and jump on a completely new one, that's when you run into some trouble. So again, I'm not saying to keep everything exactly the same. Still track your progress. That's the whole reason why we brought that up. But don't completely come up with a new out of the nowhere program that is completely different from the last one. No. Stay committed. Think about it in terms of months. Me personally, when I write my workout programs, I like to think about it as 6 months at a time. 6 months dedicated to building muscle, and then 6 months dedicated to building strength, or think about it in years. This entire year, I'm gonna lay the foundation and build up a bigger frame, bigger physique, so that next year I can go ahead and start focusing on powerlifting, on strength building. Now that I have a bigger frame, bigger muscles, I should be able to handle more weight for the following year. Think long-term like that. But again, don't constantly be switching it up so drastically. Give your body time to adapt. And then lastly, and this one's probably gonna be the easiest one to fix to see progress like that instantly, is simply that your form is just bad. Obviously, you're not seeing results because you're not even doing the exercises right. What if this entire time you've been doing the right exercises, the right programs that align perfectly with your goals? The only reason why you're just not seeing as much strength gains or as much muscle mass is because simply your form just sucks. On squats, you're doing the right exercise, right amount of sets, reps, good, perfect layout for a leg day, evenly hitting the quads, the glutes, the hammies, calves, everything. The reason why your quads are not getting bigger is because you're doing quarter squats. That form is bad. Keep the exercise the same, but refine the form. Now prioritize going a little lower, getting more range of motion, more stretch in that quad, more contraction. Boom, all of a sudden your quads are gonna start blowing up and getting a lot bigger. What if for the longest time you've had the goal of having your back get wider? You're doing all the lat pull downs, which you should, that's a great exercise for your lats, but you're not seeing the results you want. What if again, it's because you're only going up to here? How about you start pulling all the way down? Focus on that form. What if you're just going a little too heavy on the lat pull downs, and instead of actually letting your lats contract and pull those elbows down, you're using your entire upper body and just rocking back and forth, essentially ego lifting. Lighten up the weight and practice proper form, going all the way up, getting that good stretch on the lats, and then squeezing, pulling it all the way down, tucking the elbows behind us, getting a full contraction in those muscles. There are so many exercises out there that many of you are already doing. The only reason why you're not seeing the results that you want is because you're simply ego lifting. You're going too heavy, and that's compromising your form. Lighten it up, make sure you're doing it right. You're only going to get as strong as your form allows you to get. So if your form is getting better and the improvements are showing, you don't think the strength gains are going to come along with that, the muscles aren't as big as you want. You don't think refining the form and modifying it to get an increased range of motion, make sure the form is still good, you don't think your muscles are going to feel that. You don't think they're going to be getting a lot bigger. You see, exercises, really spend those first couple of years refining the form. Make sure you're doing it correctly, and if you stay doing it correctly over a long period of time, then a couple years later, obviously you're gonna have the results to show for it. But simply comes down to repetition. Practice over and over and over again the same form for the same exercise. Practice makes perfect. You get better at something by doing that. If you keep practicing getting better at quarter squats, you're only ever going to get better at quarter squats, and that's not going to be the best way to go about getting bigger quads. Again, practice full ranges of motion, practicing going light, but really feeling those muscles contract, making sure everything's perfectly aligned. Make sure you refine the form. A lot of these exercises that you already have in your program are probably the right ones that align perfectly with your goals. It's just the way that you're performing them themselves that's incorrect. So there you have it, everyone. Again, 4 things that many of you are probably doing and have continued to done up until this point, and that's the reason why, although you've been hitting the gym for a couple years now, for a good amount of time, you're nowhere near where you want to be. You're nowhere near the amount of progress that you should be. You're not seeing the results that you want. You just simply went about it the wrong way. And the last thing I want is for you to go another couple years doing these same things, and now you're just wasting even more time when that time could be better allocated towards proper training methods to actually get you the results you want. Getting bigger, stronger, faster, lose weight, whatever it may be. If you do it correctly, you should be able to see the results. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you did, and also comment down below any other tips that you may have to help out those beginners. What are some common beginner mistakes that many should be avoiding if they want to see results over the long term? Also, comment down below any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is. Comment it down below. I'd be more than happy to help y'all out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any new videos, because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. And Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow me on both accounts. I put all my links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.